Welcome to day 3 of our Sucker Free in 5. Today, I want to talk about getting the fuck out of your head. Because, see, what's really amazing about being a human is our ability to ponder the future, our ability to ruminate over the past. And that can be a great thing when you're thinking about your future and you're thinking about these plans or goals and all this dope shit you're magnetizing towards yourself. That's great. But when you're using all of this beautiful consciousness that you have to ruminate over past traumas and to be anxious about shit that hasn't even happened before, that becomes a fucking problem, right? So let's dig right into that. I think that we spend so much of our time ruminating over shit that happened in the past, right? And even if you aren't thinking about it, if it's unsettled or unsolved, complexity that we've shoved deep down, you're still dealing with the pain of that situation, whether you realize it or not. You are making decisions based on information of past events, right? And so I realize that when when we let our past dictate our present, dictate our energy, dictate what we expect from the world, we tend to experience more pain. And so we have to think about how can we learn from our past? How can we um, how can we take the knowledge that we gain from it and reapply it to situations? And I think we have a hard time realizing the possibility of that because everybody tells you can't go back. Hindsight is 2020. You can't go back. The past is the past. You can't change it. That's not necessarily true, okay? We can reevaluate the past. We can add present knowledge and insight on the past. And because you have to realize that a scenario that you experience isn't just the cold, hard facts of what day and what time and who was there. It's the emotional attachment to it. It's how you interpreted that. It's how you responded and how you reacted. And that keeps us in our head, keeps us living in the past, trapped in this situation, watching it replay itself over and over and over again in our heads so much that it continues to play itself out in our everyday life. So today, we're going to dig deep. You are going to re-experience something, but detach yourself from it. We're going to do just that. So think about a situation. It could be immensely painful, just slightly frustrating, whatever. Just think about something that happened in your past, something that shaped who you are today. And I want you to imagine that someone is writing the story of your life, right? And not your whole life. Come on now, just one fucking scenario. And you're going to write out in as much detail as humanly possible about this emotions, people, all of those sort of things. You're gonna write out this story because it's gonna be written out for you. It's the story, of your life. This one particular story. I cannot reiterate that enough. Um, and and take a few moments. Put me on pause. Make that happen. Okay. Come back. No more than 5 or so minutes. Now you got this story. And I want you to you wrote it in the lens of who you were in that moment. So now who you are right now, I want you to look at that story and try to see if there's anything in there that you can add insight to now that you may not have had before. I really want to be super transparent and tell you how this came about for me and how this really fucking shifted so much. So, full disclosure, when I was a young girl, I would go visit my half siblings, in another city away during the summertime. While I was there, I had an older brother and an older sister on my dad's side. Um, that older brother took it upon himself to misuse his power to touch me inappropriately. Okay, so so this happened. I uh, One of the times that this was happening, my older sister was there. And when it was all said and done and it happened and I went home and I told my mom, and so much of my life changed. My innocence was lost. I had a broken connection with that side of my family. Just like shit just went really awry, and I was really angry about it for a super long time because it fucked up so much shit, right? So angry that when I grew up, I didn't even want to talk to that sister because I had the thought that you were my big sister. You could have told, you could have protected me, you could have made this not happen. I held her hostage in my mind for over 15 years, unforgiving for what she did, for not protecting me, right? But it wasn't until I had this huge breakthrough where I was revisiting that trauma, not because I was triggered. See, so often we relive trauma only when someone triggers us. And so then we're stuck reacting and not even dealing with whatever it is. So right now, that's why we're writing out this story, because without being triggered, we're just revisiting. We're looking at this story and trying to see, is there any insight that I can gain from it? And so when I did this deep dive and I'm trying to gain insight on what happened, and I'm watching this story not as this 7-year-old girl, but as a 20-something-year-old now. And I look and I realize that while I was 7, my sister was only something like 10, 11. And now from a 7-year-old's perspective, this 10-year-old is like, shit, you're 2 seconds away from being an adult. You have all this cognitive ability and this strength and this power because you're a big kid, right? But now, when I was 20 something and I'm revisiting this story and I'm not just going through it being triggered, I realized she too was a child. She couldn't protect me. That wasn't her job. This probably fucked her mind up too. And created disruption in her growth. And because I could add the wisdom of who I am now to that situation, it allowed me the space to see it from someone else's perspective, and to see that that there was still space for me to have an actual relationship with my sister. And I'm not saying that when I came to this realization that it was extremely easy for me to just jump back in relationship with her, but it allowed me to begin the healing process with that relationship, and to reach out and to forgive her for something that really had nothing to do with her, that couldn't that held her hostage as well. And then we began that healing journey, restoring our relationship and talking about it and moving through it. And so I think we really have to understand that our past, although it cannot actually be changed, it can be reevaluated. And in that reevaluation, we can add our current knowledge and we can figure out how we can grow from it and how we can heal from it and how we can move forward. You ain't fucked up. You lucked up. And so much shit that you think broke you did not. It made you stronger. It made you who you are today. And we have to begin to cognitively reappraise these situations so that we can understand our strength, so that we can understand that they make us who we are, and we can begin to grow. Get that shit out your head. Write that shit down and reevaluate so that you can learn and move the fuck on with your life.